Welcome to Engineer's Kitchen. Today we want to talk about the alarm list, which is a feature in our products since the very beginning and still a very valid and a feature we are developing further and further. Anita, what have you brought for us today?
I have brought a bunch of quite cool features which make life a lot easier in daily business. So first of all, a very easy way to get a better overview of your alarm list is just by simply grouping them and add icons. So here, for example, in this list, we have two different kind of alarm groupings. On the one hand, we have a grouping by warning, error, or maybe maintenance.
So kind of category mapping.
Right, yeah. And in the second column, you could see the, let's say, area of alarms, or maybe the different halls, different sites. So this can really be can be grouped very individually. So here, for example, we have a storage power station or, for example, a wind farm. But this can also be transferred to any industry, of course.
So it's completely flexible and open.
Yeah. Also, the icons are completely flexible and open. This can be done really individually. Then another very nice way to get the overview of your alarms can be done via our equipment model. So here, for example, you not only see what's happening in the different equipment groups you have, so you see at one glance how many alarms occur. You can track them down really to each single station, and then if you see, okay, in my cell 3, for example, I want to check out what's going on, and you have a bunch of alarms which is not very handy to look at, you can simply filter on it, and you just see this one cell and what's important in this specific situation.
So really according to the selected equipment group or cell in that case. And in the equipment model, I can see then the summary information in a way.
Sure, yeah. So this is also something which can be configured quite individually. Depending on how many hierarchies you have, you can group them and also drill and track down everything.
Excellent.
Yeah. Then in daily life, you always have a bunch of alarms, and you see the alarms, you can group them, but sometimes when you do the analysis afterwards, it's really hard to check out the reason of the alarm. And to make life easier there, I brought you some really nice feature. It's called alarm list, alarm causes. So here, for example, we have another alarm list, and the operator can be forced to type in an alarm cause. And to make the analysis afterwards easier, he's not able to type any random text because it's hard to group it and everybody use a different wording. So you simply offer the operator a list where he can choose predefined alarms. And the cool thing is, this is something which can be done in runtime. So the supervisor could log in, has his own screen, and can modify the different alarm causes, can identify common alarm causes which occurred quite often, new reasons or so whatever, and then the user can simply select a specific alarm cause and then acknowledge the alarm.
So we are talking about forcing a user, so this means he cannot acknowledge an alarm or whatever before setting this kind of input.
And this can also be engineered. So when you set up your project, you can define which alarms need alarm causes and which alarms don't. Because sometimes you have some kind of alarming just for getting information, for collecting. But when you have a productive system around where you have emergency stops, then one is very interested in the reason why this emergency stop happens. Not only the kind of it's a failure, but really get some deep understanding. What kind of failure? So, and then the real cool thing is the analysis afterwards gets really, really easy, because when you then take a look at, for example, some reporting, you can very nicely drill down the alarms by alarm cause. So here, for example, you don't only see the duration and amount of alarms per machine, you also see it by cause.
Okay, so that's an additional information to the pure breakdown time, let's say.
So here you can easily see which machine causes the most trouble and what is the trouble cause. So what is the most critical aspect?
So you have a very good idea where to start with your optimization of the process, because you know what and where it is happening.
Yeah, and of course you can also do some further analysis in a kind of table view where you have all the alarms and all the alarm causes grouped for each and every machine. So you get really a deep understanding what happened in the machine, what are possible alarm causes, and if there's something which haven't occurred before, you can easily create a new alarm cause and then enhance the analyzation.
So this is why it makes sense to have standardized tags, because if everybody would type in something individual, this kind of analysis would be impossible.
True, yeah.
Oh, very impressive. Very cool. One last question. Is this reporting feature we are seeing here, are we talking about the analyzer, or is this something we have integrated in the report view, or what can we
So
expect here?
this specific report is a report view report in local, yeah. But of course, in Zenon Analyzer, you have some further and deeper analysis, of course, automated analysis. So this is just a peak of the iceberg doing your analysis. So when you want to really dig into the analysis and really want to have some kind of automated reporting, getting more context, getting more relations between machines, sensors, and so on, then of course the analyzer is then the next step. But this is something where you have, during your production day, a quick glance and immediately know where to start. Yeah.
Got it. Anita, thanks a lot for these impressive insights. I want to offer one of our great Engineer's Kitchen t-shirts.
Oh, thanks.
I hope to see you soon again on one of our episodes.
Thank you.
What a delicious episode of COPA-DATA's Engineer's Kitchen. If you are still hungry, please subscribe to our YouTube channel.